Leslie,
Morning, afternoon.
welcome. I'm glad you could make it. We're Leslie is a fan of music. I know her as a friend, uh, and I don't think you have a. I know Leslie doesn't have a music background, but she really likes good music. Just quickly, just why don't you for us name one of your favorite songs or artists from the '60s?
My name is Leslie. My favorite group in the 60s is probably gosh, The Doors.
Absolutely. We're going to be listening to the Doors.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
In fact, uh, I, as I have been, I started this whole thing of wanting to go to the '60s because I haven't found a lot of today's music having the values that I really liked, in the sense of uh, back in the '60s, people studied songcraft and song contrasts. They would go from one section to another and back and go to a third section, and they would sequence the song so that it kept your interest all the way to the end. Whereas a lot of today's songs are more looped and they're sort of like ambient, and they're interesting, but they kind of run out of gas for me. Uh, where the stuff of the '60s didn't. And even the Doors were not known as excellent songwriters, and yet if you listen to their songs, they're structured so that they pay off. Their hooks are there, all the different ingredients of hit songs, and they had a lot of hit songs. So yeah, we'll be listening to stuff from the Doors.
And they were shorter too,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
and so they were able to fit all of that structure and be succinct with their words because they had to get the message across in what is it, 2 minutes 52 seconds?
Yeah, you had 3 minutes. And yeah, I remember when I started out that you didn't have songs that went over 3 minutes. That's all the time you had. So you had to make the most of your time in your structure. And now they just weave things and ramble. I mean, a lot of it's. I'm not saying there are some very worthy efforts out there, but the priorities have changed. So I agree with you, Gail, for sure. Um, so what we're gonna do? Oh yeah. So I wanted to know. We were asking what what about Eleanor Rigby and I want to hold your hand. What did they have in common that would keep you listening to the song all the way to the end?
They took everyday things and made them interesting, is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's a boy who wants to hold the hand of the girl. Then we have love lost and people wondering about what their lives mean in Eleanor Rigby, and some of the pain that goes along with living and not getting what it is that you wanted in life. And so people can relate. They're very relatable songs. They're not trying to be some esoteric. This is the meaning of life. It's just here are the situations, and they make you feel for the people in the situations. Um, they're structured well. They wrap things up, but still, in Eleanor Rigby, it makes you want more for the people who have, like Eleanor and the preacher and such. In with I Want to Hold Your Hand, there's the hope for the future. So you have two ends of the spectrum. You have the young person going out in life and the older people going away from it.
Well, there was a universality of emotion. I
Exactly.
agree with that. And Nancy, what did you hear? What did you get from looking at those two songs? Unmute, please.
From Eleanor Rigby, and the other one was which?
I
Was it?
want to hold your hand.
Honestly, I'm thinking that when I first heard them, I was quite young. I didn't connect the dots. And when I hear them now, I'm just a big fan of the Beatles, and I didn't really analyze what it was. I just knew that I loved it and any song that they did. And there's so many hooks to their in their music that keeps me listening. And I just think they were very talented. So I mean, I just loved everything that they did, and they did different a variety. It was a wide variety of writing, and I mean, if you listen to the Rolling Stones back then, and then all of a sudden you listen to Eleanor Rigby, it's like they're almost like what they're but yet they call them rock and roll, and Eleanor Rigby is not rock and roll. So and so that was kind of interesting. They had such variety, and that's what I noted about them.
Well, I agree with you. There's a lot of variety. What I find that's in common, because again, like you, I just listened to, I didn't analyze it when they came out. I just enjoyed what I was listening.
Mhm.
But as I've gone over it, I find that they had a great sense of song structure. And you're talking about the Rolling Stones, and we're going to look at I Can't Get No Satisfaction at a later date.
Okay.
Same thing. You have a title that has a universal emotion attached to it.
Yes.
And it's sequenced in a way there are several song sections. It's not just one thing looped over and over. And and I know because I've read some of the biographies, these people had studied songs. They
Mhm.
wanted to know, again, when I had that class that Lee took about how to write a hit song. It's like, yes, you can have something and just sequence it over and over and over, and it runs out of gas. But if you do it on a certain level, then you go to another section at another level, and then you go to the first and the second, then you do a third section.
Mhm.
It's like, uh, and then you wrap it up at the end. And at the end, you've heard so much and you go, God, I want to hear it again. Whether if you have the same thing and it's kind of monotonous, the melody doesn't travel up or down, the story stays in the same place, it doesn't progress, then you don't have a reason to want to hear it again. You may like the way it sounds, and of course today with all the visuals and the videos and all that, you may like the movie that came with it, but the song for it to live for 60 years has to have both that universality that Gail's been talking about and the structure. So I did,
One of the one of the things that Walt Disney said that he made a lot of changes and decisions based on whether or not a scene was going to move the story forward. There was a beautiful sequence in Snow White that never made it because it was all the animals and the dwarfs building her bed for her. And it was a gorgeous scene that they had storyboarded, but it never went into the film because Walt said, mm-mm, two things that have to happen. It has to the movie has to have heart. You have to feel for the main character immediately, and number two, it has to move everything forward. And I think that the same thing can apply to a song. And I have to tell you, I have a confession to make.
yeah.
I was a rabid reader of your Music Connection articles for
Mm.
all the years that you were writing for them. I learned a lot of stuff because this was a whole new world of music for me. And reading those columns that you did and talking about songs and structure and your opinions on things, they were an invaluable tool over the years.
Well, I appreciate that. I I knew Michael Dolan. I was a friend of his, the guy who ran Music Connection, and he wanted me to write a column. I remember I did a Prince song, one of his uh, first hits, and he said, I want you to write what made that song a hit. And that's part of what we're going over in this workshop is to say, what did they do that gave it that longevity, gave it to and I think I gave you two things that I learned from John Berhaney. Number one, you got to grab the audience, which is just what Gail was saying. You have to have something you relate to. And then you got to keep the audience. And that is the art of the storyteller. And it's the art of the music composer or music writer that knows how to structure the song so it has levels to it. And those of you who got Leslie and Lee, I will send you some handouts that I'm mailing out. From time to time, I'm going to mail stuff out to anyone who comes to the workshop. And there are two, I'm going to give you a little lesson in songcraft, and then we'll listen to the Beatles. Okay. There are two friends for a songwriter, and then there's one nemesis for a songwriter. The friends are which I'm going to say three things. Which are the friends and which is the nemesis? Repetition, variation, and contrast. What are the friends? Repetition, variation, and contrast.
Repetition and contrast.
Yeah, please unmute you guys. Yeah, repetition, variation, and contrast. You think all three of them are good, but two of them are much better than the other.
Oh, repetition and contrast.
And which is the one that is not a friend to a songwriter?
Well, the way that you seem to see it, I think it's variation.
Yes. Well, the reason is, think about it this way. Repetition is how you learn the song. And if you have hooks and if you have the hook and it comes up once and you don't hear it again, you're not going to remember it. You have too much repetition, it's going to get monotonous. So you need to go somewhere else. That's contrast. Now, if you say something and then you say something slightly different, a variation, that's not going to be as retainable. I always feel that variation of the various elements belongs at the very end of the song. That's where you can riff around. That's where you can make little changes. But if your chorus is not much different than your verse, by the time you get to the second verse, the song's going to sort of lose its audience. So anyway, that's something to think about. All the songs we're going to be looking at today. And in this workshop, and I've sent you a list of a good 50 hit songs from the 60s, and every single one of them is structured in a way that keeps you involved all the way to the end. I think I mentioned that I used to go to Preview House and look at TV pilots and movies coming out, and you had a knob, and then it says, this is holding my interest. I'm very interested. Go to the right. I'm losing interest. Go to the left. And that's what they wanted. They wanted to see, does it keep my audience involved? And that's what you begin to look at when you analyze songs, when you listen to your own songs. When I give critiques to other people, when I critique my own songs, I'm saying, is my audience here, or are they beginning to think about lunch instead of the song?
And also, you have to take a look at the fact that, you know, some of these classic artists, when you're looking at the Beatles, think about the reverence that a man like conductor Arthur Fiedler and the Boston Pops had for the Beatles. Think of when Leonard Bernstein, in one of his shows, had Janice Ian on singing Society's Child, and he's analyzing the song and the production about having the harpsichord at the beginning and marveling at a 15-year-old who put something out like that, and have him analyzing the song and just gazing at her in absolute awe. So when you have that kind of talent and you have on both ends of it, the child really 15 years old and the famous conductor saying your music has value, that's when you know that you've done something really right.
Well, you're talking about classical. I have heard people describe Paul McCartney as the Mozart of the 20th century because he was such an incredible melody writer. In fact, that's the very first thing we're going to do right now. I'm going to take you to one of the class. We're going to still be doing some of the early or middle Beatles songs, and we'll progress to the later ones, and then we'll go to some and future workshops. We'll go to the other 60s artists. So let me try this here. I'm gonna take us to one of the uh, greatest songs of all time from the Beatles catalog. It must have been recorded by tens, if not hundreds, of artists.
If it's the one you're thinking of, it is actually the most recorded song in Billboard's history
It could,
and in more languages.
and well, here it is. Let's see, we're on the same plane here.